Welcome to London, mate.
Good to be here, good to see you, although we're staying at different hotels. I've been put up in the sort of luxury hotel, you're over in the slightly worse hotel.
The construction site, indeed. I do appreciate you ditched me before the race, but you know, this is the mentality of T100. The seedings are getting closer, it's getting closer to the final bit, and everybody's starting to look out for themselves.
Yeah, and like I guess the athletes, you know, they have competition between them, and the commentators are sort of starting to...
Have you signed a contract for next year?
I don't really want to talk
about... I'm this close, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in negotiations. I haven't put pen to paper, but I know what you're getting paid. I know what I'm looking to get paid, and let's just say I'm happy with my position.
Yeah, great. So am I.
Mate, you look tanned. You've been on holiday?
Actually, I have been. It took me 50 hours to get from Germany to Italy. Spent a couple of days there, family switching off, and back and full of energy. Looking forward to the weekend, actually. It's, I think it's going to be a big race. Lots of tradition, like within the London scene, this is a huge event. And mixing it up with the best in the world and having a chance to commentate on it, I'm looking forward to it.
When you say that you're commentating the best in the world, do you truly believe the T100 is the pinnacle of triathlon at the moment? Like, do you come to these races excited because this is the pinnacle right now?
100%. Like, to me, I'm not a big combat sport, like martial arts kind of guy, but I believe like the T100 is a little bit like the UFC. It brings together athletes from all sports, and in our case, from all distances, you know, because you have the Ironman guys, you have the Olympic distance guys, and this distance is just like a happy medium where everybody gets together and everybody gets to measure themselves, and the stakes are high enough that it's worth for the athletes to put in that extra effort. You know, whichever distance is your preferred one, you don't come here thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to use this as a training race. No one does. There's enough space, the series is thought out well enough, and the events, you know, each of them cater to somebody's strengths or weaknesses, which we've seen throughout, you know, the first races, say Singapore, with incredible heat and humidity. Then we saw Ashleigh Gentle doing super well there. Then we saw San Francisco with a hilly, tough technical course. You know, there's something for everybody. Yeah. And right on cue.
Yeah, well, we got Ashleigh Gentle here.
Ta-da!
Speaking of Singapore, Ash, thank you for joining us.
No worries.
How are you finding London so far?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. It's actually exceeded my expectations so far. I came in with pretty, I mean, for the weather, I brought all my winter woolies for a British summer, but it's actually been the past couple of days super nice, and it's really nice to be back in London. It's kind of where I started my professional career, I think. So to come back, I guess, full circle and be doing something completely different, but be back in this city to race is great.
Yeah, well, I mean, you raced short course here at the elite level in 2011 and 2013, raced twice here before, so this is your third time racing in the city. You probably didn't have the results there that are anywhere near what you've had in the T100 series. Are you excited about this race? Do you think, coming off San Fran, having your worst ever PTO result, like is there a fire burning in you to have a big result this weekend?
Yeah, I guess so. And like back in 2011, I don't know, I think it was 8th or 9th, but I was actually super happy with that because I was the young Australian. I'd never done a World Series race before, and I got put into the London Olympic test event. And what a better way to learn hard and fast. And I did, and I had someone like Emma Snowsill, Emma Moffat, Erin Densham, all to look up to. And I was able to race those ladies from a very, very young age. And I guess, it opened my eyes to what professional sport is all about. And I had them to look up to see how hard it is and how hard they worked. And I guess it lit the fire in me to want to pursue that. And it definitely wasn't always easy, but I had a really enjoyable experience at the times I have raced London. And coming back here after obviously a not so great race in San Francisco, there's definitely fuel to the fire.
You've touched on expectations and how you were super happy with 8th or 9th place, 13 years ago, which is a fair bit. Why don't you take us a little bit through that journey? Because 13 years is a long time, lots has happened, and now you're the star of the sport. Take us a little bit how you got there.
Yeah, it has been a bit of a wild ride, I guess. 13 years ago, I was only 19 or 20 years old, so I was super young. And I do remember before that race, I didn't have a coach at the time because just before I flew over, I think something happened within the federation, and I was a bit like out on my own and had to kind of work things out. But I just remember a few of the staff members was like, no, she shouldn't race, she's not ready. A couple of them were like, yeah, let's put her in, give her a whirl. And at the end of the day, it was my choice because there was a spot free if I wanted to race and I was ranked highly enough. And I did it. And it was really scary. I think that, like I said, I had the best Australian women who are also the best in the world. So I had to kind of conquer a lot of fears and trying to find my place within that team, and then also find my place in the competitors around me. And it was sometimes really daunting, but I guess I worked really hard on my swim, bike and run, with those women to look up to. And thankfully I kept on getting opportunities. I kept on performing reasonably well, kept on getting top 10s within the World Series, and it was enough to kind of keep me getting slots and opportunities to race in the best in the world. But sometimes, especially, the swim was always something that I really struggled with. I had so many different coaches, tried literally everything under the sun to try and improve that. But it taught me a lot. I think it taught me about resilience and never giving up. And even though there was lots of tears in the goggles in many swim sessions throughout my career, I think that it's helped shape me who I am. And I always felt very privileged to be able to have the opportunities that I've been given, and just try and make sure I remembered that I do deserve the opportunity, and just give it my best, and always fight to the end.
There was a point in your career when you were leaving short course, and it was like a what now period, where in long course triathlon there wasn't what there is now. The PTO sort of didn't exist. It was at the very beginning of the PTO, and there was some 70.3 stuff, some challenge stuff. Did you ever consider retirement, or were you always going to go on? And what's the impact the T100 and the PTOs had on your career still existing, and not only existing, but you being, if not the best in the world, very, very close to it?
Oh yeah, there was definitely times where I thought, like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's broken my heart too many times. I told Josh one time that I was going to join the army. It was like a bit rogue, but I think that at the end of the day, like, I would tell myself those things and like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. But I would never convince myself. Like, deep down I knew, I'm like, no, I'm not done. So even though, I kind of thought about it, I knew it wasn't what I really wanted to do. So I think there's always been this like fire inside me that was like, no, you got to keep going. There's something else for you. And I am really grateful that I kind of transitioned at the perfect time with the T100 coming up. In the start of 2022, I remember I was in Australia, and I usually don't like to race too early. I'm always in, not the best form, but I flew to Miami and then Oceanside and then the Challenge Championship all over the world. I was just trying to get points to get my first start into the PTO Open in Edmonton. So luckily I was able to do that, and I was able to get those points. It was worth the trips around the world. But I thought to myself, don't worry about prize money, don't worry about sponsors, like, just invest in yourself. Like, give this one crack, like, just really, invest in yourself. And I did that, and I got a start for PTO Edmonton, and then I won it, and I was like, so this is what it's supposed to be like. This is what happens when you truly do invest in yourself and you have a bit of belief in yourself. And that was honestly one of the proudest moments of my career.
Do you think that hardship is part of the success? Like, everybody looks up to the athletes, and you see the great moments, you see the glory, and then, maybe in between there's something where the road goes off. But I think as athletes we go through so much higher highs and lows, and the troughs are there. Are they part of the journey for you? Do you think you need that hardship to grow, to get to the next stage in life?
100%. And those hardships like are absolutely not comfortable. And a lot of the time, like, no one sees them. Like, there was so many years in my career, like I'd have Dennis Cottrell at the side of the swim pool. I'm swimming, you know, in lanes next to like Grant Hackett, and him telling me like, "What are you doing? You're not good enough." Like, and he would tell me that I'm not good enough.
Dennis would.
Of course he would, because
famous Australian swim coach for all those of you who not grew up in South Australia.
Famous.
He tells you how he sees it, and that's how he saw it. But it's like, I kept coming back, and in the end, he was like, "Okay, I got to stick with this girl because she's not leaving," and I didn't. And I think that the longer I've got into my career, the more that I've kind of reflected upon those moments that were super hard, and think back and be like, wow, I am really proud of myself because even though I was sometimes quite introverted and a bit shy, I was like, I didn't give up on myself, and I'm really proud of that.
San Francisco, you sort of had your first battle of the year with who I probably look at as your big rival in Taylor Knibb. I know there's other women in the sport, and there's so many great women in the sport. Like Kat Matthews is doing what she's doing this year. Anne Haug is
Anne Haug.
Anne Haug, and Lucy Charles Barkley does what she does. But I mean, I really look at Taylor Knibb and you as rivals, and I think it is the only two people who I look at as rivals in the sport right now in the female side of long course triathlon. I don't know if you see it like that, but outside looking in, I see it like that. She obviously had, I think, one of the best performances of her career, and you didn't have one of the best performances of your career. You had one in Singapore, and she just didn't happen to be there. And when you finally got to show down with her, you probably weren't at the level that she was. Have you thought about that much since the race? Were you thinking about it during the race? Where's your head at around the Ash and Taylor rivalry right now?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Taylor's well and truly one up on me at the moment as it stands. But yeah, I think she beat me by like 50 seconds in Milwaukee, and people told me that, you know, I got smashed by Taylor Knibb. Like, I wonder what they think after San Francisco. Wow. It was a pretty grim day for me, and obviously she excelled completely, and she was absolutely dominant. So yeah, it was a super difficult day for me. To be honest, I didn't really try and sit on it for too long, because I think I would have just drove myself crazy. And I'm kind of like, okay, I got to a point in time, I'm just gonna put that aside now and focus on what's next. And yeah, I hope that's definitely one of the worst, or I hope that is my worst race of the year, and I can only go up from here.
And following the race, made a coaching change. Was it directly because of that result, and you thought, okay, I really need to line in the sand, make a change, do something different if I want to compete, or was there other factors that were at play?
No, it's not the result of just one bad race. I don't think I would ever make a kind of rash decision just from, you know, one kind of, I guess, failure. It was, just had this like feeling in myself within the last, couple of months, perhaps a few months. And there's been times throughout my career where I didn't really listen to my gut straight away, and it's something that I regretted. So I was kind of just thinking, like, I'm not getting any younger. I've got, obviously, hopefully still a long career in front of me, but I just felt like there was things that I really needed to change a little bit within my program. So I kind of just made sure that I listened to my gut, and that resulted in a coaching change. And sitting here, I'm kind of like, I do wish I had a few more weeks to kind of nail a few more key sessions with in my new program. But I'm also like, I'm not going to miss out on an opportunity in London to actually see where I'm at against the best in the world. Like, that's the best place, right? To be like, okay, this is where I stack up. And then I think I'm pretty happy that there's, you know, a big gap to Ibiza too, because I think hopefully that's when I'll start being at like my absolute best.
And I have to ask, who is your new coach?
His name's Jordan Kirby. So he lives in Brisbane, actually, where I live. He won the World Championships at the individual pursuit in 2017, and I think Garner was second, so he definitely did all right. But he's actually younger than me, which is interesting. But I think that he has a lot of passion and a lot of energy, which I think will really help me. And I think I look at myself in middle distance triathlon, and I'm like, okay, so whereas we spend the most time on the bike, where's the most time to gain? And for me, I definitely think it's cycling. So it's something that I really want to focus a lot on until the end of the year and see how everything kind of pans out around it.
And to come back to Taylor Knibb, that's ultimately where she's winning races at the moment. Sure, she's one of, if not the best swimmer in the world and one of the best runners, but she's completely dominating on the bike. And I guess at San Francisco, it was so obvious how much better she is than the rest of the field on the bike. And Jordan's obviously a world-class cyclist, cycling coach, aerodynamic guy, so it kind of does make sense that even if it's not about Taylor, it's like, well, that's the area in the sport right now where if you're going to beat the best on one day at the grand final in T100, for example, that's probably where it's all going to happen.
Yeah, and I guess it's still, for me, it's that pursuit of just being the best and most well-rounded athlete that I can be. Like, I don't want to be an athlete that, like, oh, she's like a runner that does triathlon. It really, I guess, motivates me to always try and be the best swimmer I can be and the best cyclist I can be, and obviously use my weapon as best as I can. And yeah, if it means I can lose less time to someone like Taylor Knibb, I want to be able to be in the vicinity to try and beat someone like Taylor Knibb. That's an exceptionally hard thing to do, but I will be burying myself this year to make sure that the next time I see her on the race course, I feel like I at least have a chance.
Well, I think a lot of people say that's an incredible hard thing to do to you, is to beat you in a race. So don't discount yourself too much. Jack giving you a bit of a hard time here, but honestly, I mean, like you say, after London, before Ibiza, we've got a bit more time to nail a few sessions, and personally, I'm just looking forward to seeing you light it up and get some good battles. Someone else, I think, who's in for a good battle might be your challenger India.
Thanks, Ash.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, and you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Welcome
You're not
to London.
holding the mic? I'm so used to seeing you hold your own mic.
Yeah, it's usually my emotional support mic, but I'm not allowed it, so.
That's all right.
We've gone
they haven't even given you a glass to hold on. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Emotionally feeling good for
feel
a
really
bit of a
good.
home turf?
Yeah.
The world
Home
comes
turf,
to you.
I drove here in my own car. I got a car. 2 hours away. Yeah. It's
Amazing.
lovely.
2 hours away, that means you basically live in the centre of London, right? I experienced that yesterday.
Yeah, give or take.
The London Triathlon, T100 London, I mean, it's a traditional kind of event that's come and, first time part of the series. It's a big deal. Everybody who's from London seems to know this race. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm really excited that the T100's come to London. I did the London Triathlon, which is a really old traditional triathlon in the UK, a couple of times as a youngster. And then now I get to come back as a proper professional in this crazy big league that is the T100, and it just feels really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Wasn't there always a mixed event here? I feel like this was the famous one where you could go in like a couple, and back in the day, Tim Don and I feel like Leander Cave maybe used to get in a relay and they used to smash everybody. It was always the mixed kind of
oh, cool. I didn't know
event where the two of them had to go together, but maybe I am just getting old and senile. Yeah, but you've only,
When was this? Early
before
2000s?
Your day,
Yeah.
Early 2000s. Yes, probably actually, I think.
India, I think something that everyone loves about you is that you don't seem to take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
In my friendship group, we would describe you as a silly goose.
Thank you.
And you're always up for silly goose fun times.
Yeah.
Do you, in your day-to-day life, how seriously do you take the sport? Are you just a 24/7 live and breathe it, doing every detail right, thinking about everything? Or are you more relaxed, just having fun, and it's over the course of years of just training and having fun and hanging out with friends, you've got to this point where you're one of the best in the world?
I think the my outside persona is that I'm like super casual, maybe like a bit silly and stuff, but this is my career. I take it incredibly seriously. I every day I'm doing everything I can to be the best athlete I can, and the way I cope with the stress of that, I guess you could call it, is to also have the perspective that I'm making a living by swimming, biking and running, and in the grand scheme of the world, like it's not too serious.
Not saving lives.
I'm not saving lives. Yeah. So I enjoy my time while I'm doing it, because I know there's going to be a time when I'm not doing this. But yeah, I joke around and I have a laugh and I enjoy it, but I also am doing all the little bits to be a better athlete.
It's an incredibly hard balance to strike. I always found I very much tend to be too much in the one corner, in the serious corner. Mm-hmm. But what's the saying? Don't be serious about the work without being overly serious.
Yes.
About life.
Exactly.
And
I like that.
That's I find that I tip my hat to you. I mean, that's really hard to get right. But I agree. Like, you exuberate that kind of happiness and bring it here. But there's no doubt, if you wouldn't be turning every stone, you wouldn't be getting a start here. So.
Yeah, like, you don't get here by cracking a joke. So.
No, and you've shown us your toughness and your resilience. I mean, going back, not to rip a Band-Aid off, but thinking of Singapore, after a massive performance in Miami.
Yeah.
The highs and lows couldn't be any further apart. How are you feeling about this one?
I feel really good about this one. I feel I'm in a really good spot. I've had a strong training block. I'm racing at home, which I feel has given me an extra motivation while I'm training, because I know I'm going to have people here watching me, and I don't want to do well just because they're here. I want to do well to have the excitement after the race of how good you feel after you've had a great race, and I want to be able to celebrate that with my friends and family here. So that's what's been motivating me the last 6 weeks. And Singapore was a tough one, coming from Miami, where obviously that was a massive high, and I didn't feel quite right leading into Singapore. I'd been ill, and then still didn't feel quite right leading into San Francisco. But for this race, I feel like myself, and I feel ready to go.
So when you say...
I'm interrupting.
Yeah, I promise. I promise I can cat everybody.
I promise I've been told.
Triathlon friend. Oh, triathlon friend. Triathlon friend.
I just heard you say that you feel like yourself, and now I'm really scared, and I'm going to get beaten so bad.
It's okay. You have an excuse because you didn't lie, man.
Oh.
Have you guys trained together in this build-up?
Oh, we did a swim. Indy absolutely thrashed me, as always.
On social media, you went as far as to blame her in case you get a bad swim. What's going on, girls?
She just slated me for getting out after the warm-up.
Well, yeah, you'd done an Ironman 2 days before.
Anyway, I did some of it, yeah.
Congrats on that.
Thank you. All good.
How are you feeling? How are the legs feeling? Body pulled up?
Surprisingly good. I hope you don't mind me gate crashing. I feel
bad
about
it. No, I love it.
Okay.
I mean, you deserve to be here more than me. I feel a little bit awkward. It's ridiculous.
Do you want us to get you a cup of tea while you have a chat, or
And
what do you think we can do?
You take a flat white, and I'll take a cup of tea.
What kind of tea do you drink?
Decaf Tetley in the morning, and then I move on to
decaf in the morning.
Decaf, because I like to keep the caffeine for the coffees. So hydration-wise, decaf Tetley with milk, semi-skimmed, and in the afternoon I've moved on to like decaf Earl Grey. Again, decaf so I can keep the caffeine in the morning for the coffees.
But then with whole milk because it's wild.
No.
And how many coffees?
2.
2.
Just 2.
How many coffees do you get?
3 on a bad day.
3. I'm 3. I always needed a coffee before every session.
Double
it was always like my
espresso is 1, right?
No. Double, always double.
Double, yeah.
So you have 6 shots of coffee in a day?
So do you. You just don't know that what you're getting is a double espresso.
Right.
Traditionally, a single espresso is 7 grams, and no coffee that's ever tasted good has been extracted from 7 grams of coffee. So, you drink, that's why every other coffee shop is called 19 grams. It's because of the amount, you get it? So technically, you as well are having that much, and I've seen you. Those guzzling down the buffet coffees, they just keep coming. This guy only drinks 1 cup because it's never empty, and he sits at breakfast 2.5 hours chatting.
It's better than beer.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Professor Yarn, lecture from Yarn. So you haven't trained much in this build-up. You've both been in London, England, though, in the build-up to this, or have you been at camps?
No, I've just been at home.
Yeah, I've been in England. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying hard not to mock you for the London, England thing.
There are other cities in England.
Well, that's what, because neither of
England
you are
is not
actually from
London.
London, right? And so I'm like,
That
oh,
was
you're
me.
in London, but you're not. But then I don't actually know where you're from. Like, it all confuses me a bit.
Hampshire gal, me. Hampshire.
All the names just sound so similar to me that, like, I hear them once, I go, I'll remember that, and then I just forget it every time.
I think it's a bit like America in my mind. The fact that you've got these massive states and everybody is so sort of happy with their one state. Oh, I'm from Idaho, or I'm from California. It's a little bit like that in England, but it takes 20 minutes to get from one side of the state to the other side of the state. Everyone's like, I'm from here, and we live near Loughborough, Leicestershire, or I'm from Devon. Like, it's very, no one is sort of England.
As a visitor, that's a foreign concept. Nothing takes 20 minutes in the city. I didn't even walk from my hotel to this hotel within 20 minutes. Anyways, getting back to you, injury-free. You've turned things around massively since Miami. Looking in great shape. Loved seeing Victoria.
You were good at
coming out.
Victoria.
Did you?
She was pretty good, wasn't
Yeah, like ridiculously good at Victoria.
That was fun.
But what I want to know is, such a short distance after an Ironman, I was still walking a bit wobbly. Everything felt like it was, touching soft eggs. And now...
I just looked at India. India was trying not to laugh. and I was
Such a good
trying-
analogy.
It is! Everything is like, don't break me. Exactly. Don't always take it to the gutter. Does that give you confidence coming off a high, winning?
Being a soft egg. Absolutely no confidence. Could break at any moment.
I didn't
Just
say that
spill out
you are. I
everywhere.
said that you're walking on them.
Fitness-wise, the last race I did cemented the fact that I'm in a really good place, like generally, aerobically, and like physically in terms of health, injury-wise, like just really happy with it. I actually bounced back in terms of physically really well. Obviously, emotionally after a longer race, you tend to have a bit of a peak and a trough. I find I'm really great if it goes well, then I really drop off before I can find some middle ground. Whereas for this race, it was just cool, tick, move on. And I was back in the pool doing sprints after 3 days. So my physiology over the last 10 days, I feel like I've touched every zone and I'm ready, and I feel safe and happy in tempo at threshold. Like, I'm really happy to commit to that now in this shorter race, which is a new for me. It's not a normal, and I wouldn't say it was like normal for everyone, but for this specific sort of these 2 races, it's been really positive.
True testament to fitness.
The Cat Matthews of last year versus this year, in my mind, are very different. I think this year, I remember I talked to you at the end of last year and I said, I think of you as a really consistent athlete, especially compared to some other people that you race against. And I think you've taken that to the next level where, apart from Miami, which you had the calf and whatever, like when you're on a start line now, like when you're on that Victoria start line, I go, Cat's going to win this. And you just went and did exactly what me and I think everyone expected you to do. And I think I know what I'm going to get from you this weekend. Pretty similar to San Fran. Like, you're just clearly one of the best in the world now. What's changed? Is it just consistency since your crash? Like, why are you this athlete now versus 12 months ago?
She trains with me more. It's the lols.
I did, I broke my back. I don't know if anything's changed. For me, it hasn't. I just had a bit of a blip before I was able to continue this sort of trajectory, if that's a fair word. I think Indy beat me 3 times, I think, in 2019, and she's still beating me now. Everyone's just improving. So it's a really, I don't know. I think we're all just supporting each other to just get better and better, and I feel it's quite fun.
And it feels like that too. like the level is just like going like this and like this and like this, and like you two great friends and trained together and won Miami, second at San Fran, dominating the Pro Series. Like there's no one else in it basically, and the women below you were very good.
Just a caveat, the only reason I tried super hard in Victoria was because I had to beat Indy's record for that distance.
At Florida.
Always going. Always going.
Yeah,
We had a bit of banter before the race. It was like,
I told you it was embarrassing that my
Ruth-
Ironman time was
Yeah,
less
Ruth
than
said
hers,
she
I'd
was
only
a-
done 2.
yeah.
So.
And so Mark gave me the time.
Yeah,
He
she
was
had to
like,
pull her finger out.
if you run a sub 3 now, you beat Indy. I was like, okay.
Good motivation.
Who's got the fastest T100 time out of you two? Do you know?
Oh, is that a thing?
No, it's not a thing. We don't talk about it.
Probably from Miami.
Yeah,
Miami's
Yeah, I
a
guess
fast
because it was a
course.
fast
Miami's
course,
a
yeah.
really fast course.
but London's a
pretty
fast
short
course too.
There you go. It's on.
I mean, I technically have the Ironman record for the
yeah, you do.
British females
Yes, exactly.
now. Even given the
Very
T100
good, very
field. Thank you. So if Indy has the Miami one, I'll take the.
It's like
I'll
a
take
British thing
Ironman
though,
for
to
now.
have like a healthy rivalry, bit of banter. Don't take it too serious. You know, people. I find always, you know, in other cultures, people get offended, whereas you guys actually take the laugh, and it really spurs you on. And I can see Mark, Kat's my
He's a
husband,
little
for those people that
catalyst
don't
of
know.
everything, isn't
He
he?
does take it rather serious.
Oh,
I mean, he's standing there,
Mark takes it so seriously.
and I think he goes through more emotional highs and lows than you would. But it's fantastic to see. I think that's probably also why you two are proving a bit more of a longevity, which is something we're probably not seeing as much out of the British camp. Like you see Olympic distance racing, it's all extremely good athletes, extremely good performances, but the longevity is not really there, and it's a trend I think you two are very much breaking. And
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
nice to
I
see.
think it's also the opportunities that we're being given at the moment, like to race the T100 series, like to have these year-long commitments. I'm surprised that I'm saying these things so it's exciting that it's really turning out like this, and I think that's due to these opportunities to race again and again and again, see each other in the hotels every time. I don't get so apprehensive about racing so much because it's like, oh, well, we did it a few weeks ago, let's just go and do it again.
Yes.
Like San Fran, the boat, everyone was like,
Yeah.
Indy was like Queen Bee on the boat in San Fran, everyone was like flocking around her like, Indy, what do you think about this?
She's literally lying.
And so, you know, it was nice.
It was we
We were all helping each other try and work out like
Yeah.
which direction we were going to swim in. Yeah, it was
It's a very
good.
grown-up environment.
Yeah.
So a few races in now. You've touched on all the various ones. We're getting to a pointier end. You know, there's not that many races left. Where are your ambitions kind of going? Like, what's the target? What's the goal?
Consistency, yeah. Consistency.
Very good. Independent
Yeah.
of everyone else.
Win,
as
win,
the sports
win,
psychology
win,
book
win.
would
Is
state.
that what you mean?
You just want to win every race.
Consistency at beating Cat, or just consistency at
We do have a
racing?
tally going.
Yeah. Mark knows it.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. My dad probably does as
Yeah,
well.
your dad will know. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
If one of you came, say, 6th, and the
Yeah.
other one came 7th, so you got the the better hand of the other one, but you obviously were a fair way off the win. Would you walk away feeling a bit happier about it than say if you came 6th, but the other one came 3rd?
No, I think the opposite. So San Francisco, I had an
Yeah.
average race, but the whole race, I was thrilled because I could see Kat up the road having a great
Yeah.
race, and that motivated me because I was like, oh, Kat's having a really cool race. That's great to see. Love that. I'm having a pretty average race, but it's cool that I'm going to get to celebrate with Kat after.
Yes. So at the end of the day, it's like it's fun and it's banter, but like underneath it all, it's just being great friends and really just wanting the best for each other. And we'll take the Mickey while we go, but like really we just are both in this trying to be the best we can be. And if we have a day where we're not the best and the other person, like Kat at San Fran, for example, has a phenomenal day, or you at Miami, it's like that's really in your eyes, you know, not quite the same as a victory for yourself, but not that far off it if you're going to have a bad day?
Yeah, like I was sad in San Francisco and I was annoyed with my own performance, but Kat is a friend before she's a competitor,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to wallow in my own self-pity thinking, oh, that was a rubbish day, and like ruin the experience for Kat, because I want you to be happy about your day, you know? And you were the same in Miami.
And I think it's also sharing that achievement with the other person.
Yeah.
Like in Lati and then in Miami, like we're able to not just be happy for them, but the person who then does well, say it's one of us, one day we'll both win.
Yeah.
And you're able to actually like share that with someone else rather than necessarily just have it all for yourself. Like we commit the same effort in training every day. Like you see it every day when you train together and when you chat WhatsApp every day. Indy's sleeping most of the day, but you can touch on that if you want. But yeah, I think it's like sharing it as well as it's a two-way thing.
Kind of like the iron sharpens iron. I mean, I feel it's
Yeah,
like a very
exactly.
different, very amicable way of realizing the top is here. We both want to get there.
Yeah.
You know, shared pain is half the pain, kind of thing.
We can both be at the top, and each of us will have our day on different days, or hopefully one day the same day, because that would be epic. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love it. Alrighty, girls. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. I get a little bit nervous seeing the athletes out too much, so please go put your legs up. It's 2 days to go.
Yeah, I'm going for a nap.
Especially you. Go recover from that long distance.
There's so much going on.
Yeah. Well,
So many things.
Indeed. Thanks so much for joining
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Indy.
Thanks for letting me gate crash.
Oh, loved it. Triathlon friends.
And I realised that was an in-betweener thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why you found it so funny, isn't it? Because you just had the interview with Jack,
Thank you, mate.
How come soft eggs is so funny and you can both be on top is not? I mean, Jesus. How does that work out?
I just didn't pick up on it.
The problem is it's a German saying and it's called raw eggs. Actually, you would say raw eggs, like you're treading on raw eggs.
Oh, yeah.
I think the soft egg thing is actually like a really
It makes sense, yeah.
Because you kind of not break anything. But
I think I'd break an egg no matter
you
what
had
if I
to take
walked on
it.
it.
You had to take it. Yeah.
But yes, you're right. Me and Indy, we're not going to both achieve both on top.
All right, mate.
Yeah, God. I mean, it's
Bye, lady. See you later.
I mean, it's quite interesting. We just talked to Indy and Kat and Ash, and I found it quite different. Like, I felt Ash had this real serious, hard edge about her. Like, Ash is quite fun when you get her away from triathlon, and you can joke around with her, but on race week, she's not, I wouldn't say she's not fun, but she's serious. And then you see Kat and Indy, and they're just silly gooses, like I talked about joking around. Do you think that, is it just how different athletes prepare? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's the mindset when you have a focus on the event. Ash is here, and her kind of expectations as we talk to her have come to stand on the very top step of the podium.
Yeah.
And when you've got that expectation, then all of a sudden there's no room for error. And that error or lack of room to move creates a certain sense of pressure. And some athletes thrive in it, others don't. And I think India, for instance, is somebody who loves the sport but wouldn't thrive under that kind of self-imposed pressure.
Yeah.
Personally, I was always that person. You know, I was always fairly serious. You go into a tunnel, and I had a tendency to take it too far. But you know, that's for each athlete to figure out, and that's what it's so exciting to see with, you know, older athletes, as in athletes well into their 30s. They've been racing a decade plus. They get to know each other in a sense that they just realize that's how they work. And they go into that mode automatically. It's not because they choose to, it's not because they're playing mind games as such. It literally is an automatic switch that comes on the closer race day comes. And yeah, I think that's the beauty of sport in general. You can have all the preparation, you can have all the science, you can have all the data. In the end, your mind makes up, I personally believe, 50% of how you're going to perform.
Wow.
And if you can figure out your mind, and let it be. Find that kind of self-content without being too happy, because happiness is also not a
Killer of performance.
great contributor
Yeah.
to really needing to give it a
to
go.
be dog hungry.
To be dog hungry, there's happiness in a sense of self-content, there's
Yeah.
kind of always searching for the next edge. I wouldn't say anyone is unhappy, but there's always
They're
that
not
little bit,
satisfied.
that little bit of a search of the next high.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we couldn't have displayed better
Yeah.
within 20 minutes on the couch, vast opposites of characters, giggling and laughter versus, a serious and focused Ash that, really let her guard down, I think, a little bit as well in terms
She
of her
did.
journey. I was quite impressed.
Joined by someone else,
Oi.
speaking of.
Hey!
Lisa Norden.
Hi.
Haven't seen you for a while. Good.
No, it's been a while.
And I
Good
never met
territory
you.
for
First
you.
time
Nice to
meeting
meet
you,
you.
Lisa.
Nice to meet
How are
you.
you?
Good.
Good.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, we haven't seen you at many of these. Are you excited?
You know why?
Tell me.
I've been pregnant,
Yes.
so that's why I haven't been around.
Yeah.
So it's been a challenging spring with a miscarriage, and I've been on the PTO compassionate leave. So this is actually my return into racing, ending the compassionate leave.
Wow.
So it's really cool to be here in many ways.
Wow, that is amazing. You taking that. All I can say, sorry for a hard time. You look like you're just excited to be back and really using the sport to lift your spirits. I mean, how are you feeling?
Well, it's my job, right? It's what we do, and I think for any normal job, people wouldn't know. You just go back to your work and you do what you normally do, and you're just as good at your job. Being pregnant, you can't come back and be just as good because you go through so many things, and you actually stop. Like I had off season after Australia, then got pregnant, and then I had more than 3 months of pregnancy, which wasn't easy. But then you don't have a kid, so then you're like, what are we going to do now? And you have to go back into, should I end my career? Should I do something else? Or should I get back into racing? So I wanted to go back into racing because I still enjoyed training and everything around it. So that's where I'm here. And that's the reason I have a wild card too, because
That is some incredible strength and
surprise.
resilience. I mean, that's amazing. Amazing to see you want to get back to the very top. London, the site of the most famous sprint
Yeah.
ever, perhaps.
well, there's a lot of good memories here too, which makes it
in
so exciting.
triathlon. I mean, I remember it vividly. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Could there be a better place to start the next chapter in your career?
I don't think so. It's the script is fantastic, and just coming in on Heathrow, flying over, flying over the Thames, and you see Hyde Park, and it's all the good memories are coming back on me.
That was quite something. The blue carpet sprint.
Actually, the whole last lap in Hyde Park, that crowd, and I remember it so clearly because you had the lake on the one side and the crowd on the other side, and the hearing, because on this side just so much noise, and here it was quiet because of the lake. Yeah. So it's all the noise, and I couldn't hear my own breathing, and then it was kind of quiet, and you could pick up the girls breathing and what they were doing, and that focus on the last lap, it's indented into my soul, and that focus for the
For
last
everyone
lap.
who doesn't know, we're talking 2012 London Olympics here, where you were in, I think, the most famous sprint finish in triathlon history. I mean, San Fran was pretty good, but this was a bit different with yourself and Nicola Spirig. You obviously just. I'm actually not even still sure if you didn't win. It was pretty close, but got the silver medal.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the silver medal. A medal is a medal. It was 9,000th of a second, right? So it's as close. Bigger boobs than I would have wanted, right? So what can you do?
That's the first
You only
time
work with
I've
what you
ever
have,
heard
right?
I was thinking just now. How have the last few weeks been? How are you feeling coming to this? How's your preparation been mentally? You seem like you're in a good place coming there.
Well, I think the body is fascinating, and how it can, so I had to play my cards right. I don't have time for a big volume block. I don't have time to rebuild myself from the basics. But I have 20 years of training in the body, so I basically focused on speed. after the miscarriage, I lost a lot of blood, so they were like, you can't train for 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, I had 6 weeks to TT national champs in Sweden. And I called the coach and was like, do you think, is it possible? Like, can we do something here? And I needed to increase, like I did one of those tests, standardized tests we do back home with like 60, 80, 90% of maximal heart rate on the trainer, and you see what your wattage are on the different levels. And I need to improve my watts by around 40, 50 watts on the second level to be competitive. It's like, can you give me 40 watts in 6 weeks?
Wow.
And my coach was like, we can try.
Wow.
And I got to that level in training, and then
Just
I rode
VO2
nationals.
max? Sorry, just out of interest. Is that where you were just hitting?
We do like a, what's it called, like the Lampard sub-max test.
Okay.
So you do like 5 minutes on 60%, 5 minutes on 80%, and then 3 minutes on 90% of your maximal heart rate. And you always stick to the same heart rates, which gives you a wattage on that heart rate. And it's just a very simple way in training to see like where you're improving, how the training is like being absorbed.
Yeah, and so to get that extra 40 watts that you needed for that short period of time, were you just doing really high-end VO2 max training the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many sessions a week?
Well, it's only, also I came out, my blood, I lost a liter and a half of blood, so my blood values were like horrible. So I couldn't overdo it. It was like, I'm not 100% healthy.
Yeah.
So I have to do this training, but also have to find a balance through recovery and like finding my way into it. So I had to take it slow in the start, and then I could like really increase and like hit the numbers towards the end. And I think we got to like 39 watts in 6 weeks, in 5 weeks,
there you
in 5
go.
weeks, and then the taper.
That's
So
pretty
it's good
impressive.
enough.
That's very impressive. I might have to call you for some tips.
That was all like cycling focus, and then I raced nationals. I won it by 1 second.
Yeah.
So that was like, okay, now I've done this one.
Congratulations.
And then move on to triathlon. So then I tried to like get all the triathlon bits together, which was like, okay, I need to find some swim speed, I need to find some run speed. Running that kept going for the whole time. But the last 3 weeks, it's been basically just race pace or above on everything.
Lisa, I really am sorry to hear about your miscarriage. It's like actually thrown me a bit. I've been thinking about it. I don't know if there's many harder things that like people go through, like loss and like I just feel huge amounts of empathy for you. And I want to know, like, are you 100% back to where you were beforehand with your mental health, or like are you still dealing with it and battling with it? Like,
I think it's like you're always gonna battle with it. Like it's something that happened that got you on a very, very deep level.
Yeah.
Like it's, like I don't think I ever, being a triathlete growing up, like ever considered thinking about it. Like it was never on my mind, this might happen. And even in the early pregnancy, you don't think about it, like it's not on the cards. And in one way it was, because I was planning a backup season. I was entering Roth and I was like doing races. If things don't go to plan, then I could always do this. But I never took into account the effects it would have, like both in training and the mental health.
Yeah.
But I also found the training helped me so much to feel good about myself and to like just to enjoy being back at what I love to do. And also especially feeling then the body responding and adapting to training, and it's a nice process, and you do feel, you're happy when you train, you feel good about yourself because you like moving forward, and being back at the bus of races is what I always loved it. So it's like a nice thing to be back at. Yeah. But it's something I think a lot of people, they don't know about it, because you don't talk about a pregnancy until it's kind of a done deal and you're sure about it. And it's a big secret until then. And it's a big secret when you're not feeling good, you're feeling horrible. You start, like I hid my Strava, because I knew like if people would watch my Strava, they'd be like, what the fuck is she doing? Like she's meant to train as an athlete and she's like doing 40-minute bike rides at 120 watts. Like it's something that's a bit off here. So as a professional athlete, you kind of have to like hide yourself for 3 months, but then you have nothing to show and you have nothing to tell, and people normally don't talk about miscarriages. So then I was like, how should I not talk about it and just like move on? And no one would have, they would just like, oh, she's in bad shape, like what happened to her? She's probably old. But I found it was easier, and I had so much love and support also talking about it.
100%.
And then you realize how many families are going through the same thing. And that love and outpour from the community has been amazing. It blew me away. And I cried so much, like going through all the comments and everything. So I think it's something PTO has done so well. I didn't even think about the compassionate policy before. Like, why should I? Have you even thought about it? Like, no.
Quite frankly, I did.
I couldn't tell
You
you.
didn't know
I've
it
heard
was
of it.
there, right?
I couldn't tell you what's on the policy.
But to realize, not just for the money, but there's someone holding your back and understanding that you can't just go back to work. That was also like for mental health, and to have that someone like backing you up a little bit was super, super nice.
I think something about triathlon that is, I mean, this is about sport in general, but I really think endurance sport and triathlon has a really powerful way of inspiring people and motivating people. And like, if you look at this guy here on our right, Jan Frodeno, can you imagine the number of people he's inspired and motivated throughout his career? Like, it would be like literally tens of thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people, have seen things he's done and gone like, oh, I'm inspired and motivated to go and be a better version of myself, or do that thing, or be healthier, or whatever it is. And I think opportunities like this, which on a personal level for you are like the worst shit, while they're terrible for you personally, that they have a real chance to like inspire other people. Because like you said, you wouldn't have any idea how many people have probably gone through that and don't talk about it, and would see you and will even watch this race on the weekend and will have gone through it. And so if they watch this and hear you talk about it and see where you're at now, like at the pinnacle of the sport, like you're a national champion already, like so recently afterwards, who knows what you could do this weekend at the race. Like, I really encourage you to speak about it and share your journey, because you will inspire people and help, like really on a deep level help people. And I commend you for talking to us about it, because I can't imagine it's easy. So I don't have a question. I just think it's amazing, really.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Nice. So for me, it's a big win to be here, and I'm just very excited to.
For us, it's a big win to have you here, so we can see and watch you perform your magic.
Yeah, we'll see if this. To be honest, it's been a short period of time to get ready for it as well.
Yeah.
But hopefully, there's some muscle memory somewhere to know how to do this.
Guaranteed. Anyways, for this weekend, I wish you all the very, very best of luck. Remember,
Thank you.
just whatever you get out,
Big
just
boobs.
get out. We want to see another one of those finishes. Yeah, I want to hug.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you.
Nice to meet you. We get a hug now. Now we know each other. Cheers. Bye.
Another German about to join us.
Hey.
Rico,
Young Rico, the young Jan Frodeno, they call him.
have a seat, buddy. How are you?
Hey, mate.
Fine. Hi.
How are you?
Look at you, in the boss, Germany.
Germany and
Everything
Bogen.
on there.
Yeah. Should
Very
be.
nice. Your sponsor list seems to be filling.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's a
quite
nice
good
sign.
now. Yeah.
Happy
good,
days.
Good love now in life now.
How are you feeling? San Francisco, you provided us with, personally I have to say, my favorite race of the season, if not of the last few years. I mean, that was, as a spectator, as a fan, absolutely magic. How are you feeling? How's it been since?
Yeah, the San Francisco was great. I think it was an epic sprint finish with 3 guys. And yeah, I love to be in front there, and hopefully we have it again here. And yeah, since then I was in altitude camp in St. Moritz, so good training block, and now here in London, it's quite cool. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the traditional races. I mean, you're new on the scene. You've, obviously being last year's 70.3 world champion, coming here, getting to know many of these races that have been around for decades even.
Yeah.
Your training's been going good, running into this. I mean, it's the next race in the series. You're moving up in the series standings. How are you feeling about the series progressing?
Yeah, it's quite good. I started with 12th place in Miami. This was not what I came for, but now with the 3rd place in San Francisco, it's really cool, and hoping for at least a top 5 here, or I want to have the podium again. Because if you are there one time, you want to be there again, and I think it's possible. The conditions suits me here, and so I hope that I can be in the podium, and then I have 3 races, and hopefully the Miami race is coming out then, so I can cut it out with the points, and in the end that I'm in the top 10 at least and over ranking.
Yeah, you mentioned the conditions. I mean, Miami was incredibly hot. We were out there and on the tarmac as well. It felt like it was heating up. London having its very finest summer weather. We haven't seen the sun since we've been here, but at least it's mid-20s Celsius degrees. Is that what you like racing in the most? Is that where you thrive? Compared to the others, obviously. Everybody thrives in those conditions, but compared to everyone else?
Yeah, I think I'm better in these conditions. 15 to 20 degrees is my best, my famous. Lahti was like this, and San Francisco was like this. So I like these conditions more, but I also train now for the heat, so I think I can also go over 20 degrees.
So me and Fred Funk have a bit of a running joke that we share with Rico, that as soon as the temperature hits 18 degrees, if Rico hasn't done a really long heat block, he's going to be in trouble. And so, I mean, this weekend it could be right around there. It's like right at like potentially too hot for you, but if it stays like this, it could be a big day for you.
Yeah, but I think it's not too hot. 22 to 23 degrees I can handle.
Where have you been preparing for this?
In St. Moritz, so an aged camp. It's 1,800 high, and I did some indoor sessions to prepare also for the heat, but also the aged camp. I did this before the World Champs last year, and it was good. So I think it's good again.
So that altitude camp, you were training with Kyle Smith for a bit, Fred Funk, Daniel Bakkegaard.
Yeah.
I'm hearing stories that potentially you and Kyle were the two best on the camp and in great shape, and we saw the sprint finish you guys had at San Francisco. Now that you've had that race against him and the camp, what are your thoughts? Is it likely to be you two again for the battle, considering Martin Van Riel isn't here this weekend?
Yeah, Martin Van Riel isn't here, so maybe just the two of us, but now we have Max Neumann again, so I don't know how he is. He's back after 1 year.
No one knows. No one knows how Max
He's only so
no
talented, no one's even seen him yet.
Is he really?
I got eyes on him and I thought, well, I think I did. It was sort of like seeing Bigfoot. He was like out in the distance, and if I tried to take a photo, it would have been a bit blurry, but I think I saw him. But from what I'm hearing, no one's really seen him.
So he, but also Magnus Ditlev had a really strong race in Wolf, so if he can do it here, then he is a really good athlete, and I think the flat course suits him more than the hilly course in San Francisco. So maybe it's just two of us, but maybe there's another one. So I can't say now.
Do you think with this course here in London, it's a flat bike course, it's multi-lapped, the roads are a bit rough. I think it's one of those bike courses where it's tough, but things are likely to largely stay together, and a few men are going to get off on the bike together and have a battle. Do you see it the same? Have you prepared yourself both in training and mentally, like Jan just talked about, the mental aspect of the sport taking up 50% of peak performance? Have you been preparing yourself for a run battle where you're going to have to go to the absolute depths to win?
I'm preparing for the run battle, and I think my run shape is good. And I trained with Kyle and trained in also on the track together. So it's trying to hang on his legs, and so I'm preparing for digging deep.
And can you share some stories from training camp, like particular sessions where you and Kyle sort of were doing hard sessions on the track together? Was someone getting the better of the other? Was there competition?
We did together the 8 times 1K on the track, and
classic. What were you going? What was the send-off? Come on, give it to us.
We were around 3:32, 3:02, and 2:35. So, and he was a little bit faster there. and the last one I did with him, and the send-off was one loop easy. So I think 2 minutes break. And so that was quite cool to doing this together. This was 4 days after my 70.3 race in Les Apples, so I was not so fresh. But it was cool sessions, and then we did also a swimming session together, 30 times 100, and there I was faster. There I swim around 1:05, and he 1:06 or 7. So I think we are at the same level, and it's the day of the competition where that's faster.
3,100, so that's my session. That's definitely Carl. I know Carl's got that from me. We always build it up. That's my absolute staple session, 3,100s off 140.
Weekly?
Yeah.
Best pace, yes.
That's it, yeah.
That's a bread and butter session for me, and it's hard, but when you get through it, then...
What was your time there?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Tell us your cycles.
That depends a lot on altitude. I reacted very, very high, like very, very sensitive to altitude. So and short and long course. Short course altitude, probably similar 105s.
Yeah.
At sea level, probably always going a couple of seconds faster, and then long course.
Under 1 minute.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I was never that talented. You see someone like Javier Gomez, who would do a session like that, and he would be hitting 58s, 59s, long course. Long course.
Long course, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
and he would be hitting them off a short send-off. I mean, Javier is a phenomenal swimmer, phenomenal pool swimmer,
Yeah.
who never, either because of his choice, translated it into the open water, because, you know, with that kind of basis, you should be swimming off the front. I mean, that's 5 seconds faster than me, easily, per 100. You know, but Javier's always got that, but that's where he's got that extreme aerobic capacity from. But if you're going 105s at altitude, I think you're going really, really well. But it's nice to see you getting, training with world-class athletes. I think it'll help your journey along, because, I mean, it's been incredible, right? You came from, forgive me for saying, out of, you know, the woods, out of nowhere, to be 70.3 world champion. But what I've really enjoyed is seeing how you take races by the scruff of the neck. Like you said, you came 12th in the first race, where I'm like, look here, these are the 20 best guys in the world. It's not bad. Yeah. But you were angry. Like you were not happy at all. Like you were like, I came to Miami. This is not what I came here for. And I think that's one of the great things. So I think for this one, we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Send it, go big or go home. Yeah. Go big. Let's see you on the podium. You remember, champagne tastes the sweetest on the podium. All right, it's back to back to back. Oh,
another big hitter.
My goodness,
Speaking
somebody
of big
dim
hitters,
down the lights.
You're required to tell everyone, hey, you want to see him on the podium, huh?
What?
You just told him you want to see him on the podium. I bet that you tell everyone you want to see him on the podium.
No.
Do you know Jan?
No.
I've never heard him just be like, say something to make someone feel good. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks, exactly when he thinks it.
I believe in the honesty. I think we need more honesty in relationships. That's how you also know I'm never bullshitting you, right? If I tell you, you know I'm being honest.
I've learned it a few times, because like there's been both sides of it. Like Jan said some really nice things and been a really good friend, and then also just hit me between the eyes with a couple of things that I've been laying in bed and been like, oh, he's right. You know, like, yeah. So.
Sam, to you. You are looking skinny, my friend. I am so glad to see you here. The last time I spoke to you was outside the hotel, San Francisco. You were thinking of flying around the globe to do another 7 to 8 races between now and then. It looks like you've got a training block. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good, yeah. You said, you know, skip the racing, work on your physiology, and hopefully we'll see you in London. And that's pretty much exactly what I did. I definitely had kind of burnt the candle a little bit on both ends with the start of the season, with a lot of racing, good racing, lots of travel. And so I actually took a nice 10-day kind of recovery block after San Fran, greatly needed, and then had a fantastic 4-week block and have come in, and I think the rest did me good, and the big training did me good, and so now feeling solid.
Can we get a close-up on this man's legs and how hairy they are? Because hairy legs, I feel, is always a sign that you're in the zone. Yep. You are moving, you are training,
You've locked
and it's
yourself away from the
essentials, and it's just whatever you can grab to eat left, right, and center, but you don't have time to go.
I reckon there's another sign. He clearly has had a home shave job. Well, you've just clearly just
also no time for the haircut. Every 3 weeks, the self-cut shave.
Yes, I
no
can
time
tell.
to shave the legs.
Because you can see it's not quite like when you get like a one that you pay $50 for. It's real smooth, where you can tell you've just gone like that. Which, to me, like what Jan says, means that you've been like isolated in a hard block where all you're doing is sleeping, eating, training, family.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's 100% it. The last 5 weeks.
Yeah. Can you tell us about it? A bit more detail?
Yeah, I dubbed it Hell Month for myself, because I'm training there in Arizona, right? It's 105 degrees Fahrenheit is the high every day. I think that's around
40?
40.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets there by about 9, 10 in the morning.
Wow.
And pretty much all of that's been outside. I have done some key run sessions indoors so that I can hit the paces, but just, really trained. Bedtime every night was 8:30. My alarm was set for 4:55 in the morning every single day. And I think part of that, it's actually been good, right? Because there's the physical grind, but there's also the mental grind of building myself up. And well, on one hand, it sucks doing that. On the other hand, it's been like, I'm doing this, for an end goal. I'm not just doing this to be out there riding my bike for fun.
Man, there we go. I'm loving what I'm hearing. I mean, creating good habits. You spoke very openly in the beginning of the season about the two sides of you that you're carrying. Right now, we're seeing a laser focus Sam Long, who's just gone through Hell Month. He's here for business. At the same time, I just saw your wife and little man come around the back. Is that what gives you balance?
Yeah, I think it's what gives me balance. Definitely, I'd say on the two sides, I'm more in like the dark side right now. Like I'm fired up to perform. I hate bad results, and well, people might look and say 8th place at San Fran wasn't a bad result. I mean, I came out of that water like a minute and 10 seconds back, and I said I should win this one, and I let that slip through my hands, and that was not a fun experience for me, and so I'm out here with a vengeance. But yeah, the family, I mean, obviously you've got no room for the dark side with an 11-month-old baby. So no matter how much you want to punish yourself, no matter how hard you want to go, when you see them, you just smile.
Yeah, but I mean, that could be a real helpful thing, right? Because I mean, we talk a lot about parenting and athletes who become parents and how it changes them. And I think perhaps it's something that, just prevents you from tipping over the edge. Because if you go to the dark side, at least personally, I experienced it sometimes, it can be too much, and you just go a little bit to an unconstructive kind of place. Whereas it looks like it anyways for now. You're in a good spot.
Yeah, totally. Actually, yeah. You're once again, Jan, always honest. Tends to be right. Tends to be honest.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. Like it could kind of snowball without the family, and the family's really keeping me in check, and it always reminds you why you're doing this. Like I definitely think a lot about like the gladiators and stuff, and it's like, we go out, we train, we go to race, and like the why is always there. Like we want to do it for ourselves. I want to win the races for myself, but like the why has never been so good. It's to provide for my family. It's to provide a great life for my kid, and to set up all of our futures, right? And having that why, even though it's harder with a kid, you got to manage your time better. You've got, you're on your feet way more. Like, I mean, you've got two of them, right? There's a million things you have to do, but I think because that why gets so much bigger that it can make up for it in performance.
Ladies and gentlemen, get the popcorn. We have got a man on a mission, and he has got a purpose. I am very, very much looking forward to it. Looking at the series leader, going out, 3 races done, dusted. What are your thoughts? Where are you aiming?
Yeah, I mean, obviously aiming to keep the series lead at the end of the year. I think if I lose it in the middle of the year, it'd be nice to keep it. And so the 3 main people I think to beat in order to keep the lead and kind of keep the momentum on my side is Magnus, Kyle, and Yuri. So I think those are the big 3 guys, at least for me, to be watching out for this weekend.
I've got a couple of questions. I want to just go back a second to Hell Month. Can you tell me a bit about what you were doing? I know you spent some time in Lionel Sanders' garage on the treadmill. Can you tell me a bit about some specific sessions and like maybe some of the harder stuff you do? Because you have a real reputation amongst a community of hard workers as doing crazy training and doing really high volume and doing things that maybe some other athletes are either too scared or not prepared to do. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the heat definitely, it's like high altitude, right? Like the numbers at times have been lower. So I've had to definitely just listen to the body at times more, and like compared to in 30 degrees lower temperature, like the watts have been lower. The running paces actually have been pretty much the same, which is really nice to see. One of my, probably the biggest session I did was like, it's a 90-minute straight tempo. You do like 3 minutes hard, 2 minutes settle in, 2 minutes hard, 2 minutes settle in, 1 minute hard, 1 minute settle in, straight through for 90 minutes. And the hard is like over threshold, so that's like I'd start the 3 minutes at like 420 I was doing, then 2 minutes, actually even higher. It was like 430, 440, 500 for the hard ones, and then the off is still like 350. So it ended up being 90 minutes at 375 watts. That was my biggest session into this.
Wow. Because I know numbers from San Francisco for people at the race, and that's higher than what the guys were pushing on that race, and that was a hot race. So.
Yeah, like in terms of pace, you mean? That was a...
Well, I mean, in terms of power, so like Mathis Margier, Mika Newt, Fred Funk, Kyle Smith all had career best average power numbers on that San Francisco course.
I think normalized power we would have had.
But even average,
well?
Well, I know a couple did, without giving away numbers. I know like Mathis' normalised power, which everyone's heard about now, he normalised 400 watts for the race, which is obviously crazy, but that course is, 375 watts for 90 minutes in training average is like pretty crazy.
That's big power, but it's even more big power because when you to hold 375 consistently is hard, but then to go these over-under things, and that's what makes you probably the #1 ranked biker in the world. I don't know if that's true or not, but you should be. Those rankings, dear Torsten, they're sometimes a little bit behind.
Here he is, Jan, the honest Jan.
Honest, but also right.
Oh man, it's fantastic to see. Anyways, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how you've turned it around. I genuinely, when I expressed it earlier, I was grateful because I heard a few voices, and quite frankly, the thought had crossed my mind that the best part of your season had perhaps occurred when you said, you're starting a journey around the world to, pocket a few points here and there, and perhaps a sign of your maturity coming around as well. Thinking, is it maturity? Or is it actually confidence? Is it confidence because you believe you can grasp the series and take a win?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like, we've got a lot to grab, right? We've got the Ironman Pro Series, which, I mean, the title itself probably doesn't mean anything.
But the money.
The money talks, right? And so you look at it and you go, okay, the money looks good. We've got this series, which the title means a lot, and the money is there. And I think, I actually think it was maybe more of a lack of confidence to be like, I'd rather be third or fourth in both series, which I think was completely doable with my tour around the world, or do I forget about one and go all in on one, and that's the decision I made, and now I just got to live by it.
Epic.
I think if you had have gone and done the other series, while it's a series I actually personally really love, I don't think a lot of people would have really cared if you won it. Like, I think people would have gone like, of course you should win it. Like, you're clearly the class athlete compared to that field. Whereas if you can win this field, although you're looked at as one of the best, I don't think you're looked at as the best in a lot of fans' eyes and a lot of even athletes' eyes. Like, I think people will still put Sam Laidlow or Magnus Ditlev, and you're the next guy. And so I think it was the right decision, because if you can focus on this, if you can get in a position like you're in San Fran with the bike and run you had at Singapore or Miami, like if you can do that this weekend, why can't you win it? Why can't you be the guy, really?
Yeah, totally. No, I agree with that completely.
Yeah. All right, get out there, go and do it.
Hey,
get the
guys.
legs up. You've got
Cheers,
a little
guys.
toddler.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling you my therapist.
Therapy with Jan.
See you, buddy.
That would actually be a really good series if we just had a couch like this, an athlete and Jan, he just gives them therapy.
The change of pace has been relentless this morning. Gee whiz, that was quite something.
And just different personalities. I want to talk about the series with you because, like Sam talking about it then just made me think about it. Who as it sits right now, who are your favourites at the end of the year to win the series, male and female?
Look here, I think Sam has actually made a big statement and a big move of intent to come and commit to the series full time. And he is that guy, he's always got the little bit of the swim deficit, but we just heard his numbers. I mean, they are mind-boggling, right?
Yeah.
And they are probably in line with only what Magnus Ditlev could push.
Maybe Sam Laidlow.
Maybe Sam Laidlow, indeed. But I feel like on race day, he's still got a higher peak performance. I think he could, over this distance, he's more accustomed to pushing out big numbers for a short amount of time to close a gap, to come and accelerate out of a corner. This is not the Queen K where you're just going straight for a long time. And he he just has that run speed that
Yeah.
Magnus is perhaps not quite at over this distance, right? I mean, we're talking T100 distance. And, you know, other than that, Kyle's making a big step, but we just had Rico, you know, he's young. This
Yeah.
guy's improving race by race by
Huge.
race. And you got to remember, when this guy goes out to altitude, that's probably the first time he's been at altitude, or maybe the second. You know, all the stimuli that are coming into his body, they're still working, and they're creating way more change than in a much more seasoned athlete. Like a Sam Laidlow who's been doing triathlon since he's 3.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think the beauty of it right now is that we don't know.
Yeah.
And that's how you want it to be. Imagine you had just one clear favorite. The series would be boring. We literally got a handful of gents on our side who could all, you know, take the lead. And I think London's going to be a big factor in terms of closing, also opportunity. The window of opportunity is closing. You know, someone like Yuri Culling, who's come out and had one out of nowhere epic performance,
Yep.
right? Can he do it again?
Yeah.
Because right now he's only got, you know, a few races left to show us where potentially he could end up, and he's got the pressure that he's got to perform at each and every one.
Yeah, so I want to ask you about a couple of those people, because right now I look at, if Martin Van Riel's not here, who we didn't even talk about then because I guess he's not here, so he escapes your mind, and he's got the short course, but he's going to come back for 3 races at the end of the year. Kyle Smith, I look at as the best in the world right now. Like I have him as the favourite for this weekend. I think he's the best runner in the field. I think his swim is strong enough, and I think his bike is also one of the best in the world. Do you think that what I've just said then you agree with? Do you view Kyle like that as well?
You know, Kyle has had a long road of struggle with health issues and this kind of thing, and I think he's coming together. Right now, the thing is, Kyle Smith in training, 100%, is the best athlete I
Crazy
have
from
ever
what I'm
seen.
hearing. Like, talking to those boys about the training camp, they are all good friends of mine on that training camp, and all of them said the same thing walking out of it. Like, Kyle is doing insane things. Like, no one can keep up with him. Like, we've never seen people do the running he's doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, those were all the things he's been doing for years. And when I was training with him as well, he was doing that. He was ripping my legs off me every single day. And then, you know, come race day, something would always come undone. And I think this is why, you know, San Francisco's been such an important step for him, just to get on the podium, right? He can smell a victory in a major race, because all his major performances, they've been amazing, but they've not been under pressure. They've all been, you know, sort of New Zealand post-COVID, a little bit of, you know, small select fields where no one was able to put the pressure on him for a long time. And this is what he's starting to deal with, is pressure. And if he can get himself to really relish in those situations and just, you know, take it as a positive, take the stress on and be like, this is my opportunity, I've earned my spot to be here. That's when I think he can really go and show the world of what his physiology is actually capable of, because we haven't seen that yet.
Yuri Culling won Singapore in, I think, the best performance of the season so far on the male side. Like, I know Martin was good, but I was pretty blown away by what Yuri did at Singapore. He then had a bit of a down patch afterwards and has been doing races in Europe and performing quite a way away from his Singapore level. He's back here at the T100. He's brought his coach with him, and I wanted to ask you about that. If you're a world-class athlete and you're bringing your coach to a race, is that a signal of intent? Do you only do that to the big ones that you're taking seriously?
I think that's a very individual thing. You know, some athletes prefer to have someone hold their hand and others don't, and that's just the team, how you come in. Quite frankly, I don't know much about the relationship he has with his coach, and you know, that's such an individual thing. That can also just be a practicality thing. You know, I brought my coach. If he wanted to come, he told me he was coming to Hawaii, and then he was either there or he wasn't there. Yeah. It's one of those things. I think as an athlete, the more independent you are, the better it is. Okay. Because, you know, it's the same thing as having, you know, as like a good luck charm. It's just something mentally for you to lean on. Whereas, you know, if you don't need that kind of anchor, it's generally helpful. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's something that he needs to perform well. I think it's probably something with their method and how they seem to work, from what I see from the outside, again, I have no deeper insights, is that they would probably be here and actually look at a live situation and just understand where they can go better. Fair enough. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good going.
Tom, thanks for having us.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Very well. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Anya, nice to meet you.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, thank you, very good.
So what are you doing this weekend?
I'm doing my first triathlon and I'm terrified and excited.
Yep. Do you
Yes.
know much about the sport?
I've done a few triathlons. This is my first T100, but I have a background in marathon running. So,
PB?
as in, will this be a PB?
No, marathon PB?
2:34,
Pretty fast.
Oh, jeez. All right, moving.
which is fine, but I can't cycle or swim very well, so that's my issue.
Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, here, Thames is a perfect place to learn how to swim. I'm sure they'll have a few clinics going for you guys. How did you come about? I mean, this is a traditional event around here. I mean, you sound like you're at least from the greater area. Is that correct, or where are you guys from?
London surrounding, pretty close.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be an amazing event. There's a lot of hype, there's a lot of excitement. It's my first ever triathlon. Started training a couple of weeks ago. So
A couple of weeks ago, we see you haven't taken your race suit
I-
off
Just
just yet.
try suit on.
I want to feel comfortable. I think if I act pro, it might come out on the day. So
Yeah.
I've been sleeping in this.
How's it smell?
Good, actually, and showering in it. So there we go. But I'm excited. I did my first open water swim literally yesterday night. I put a wetsuit on and practiced the whole off.
Yeah.
And the transitions. She's playing it down. She's done like a half Ironman as well.
Which one did you do?
I did Nice 70.3 a few
Oh,
weeks ago.
Great course.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
cool.
So you know what you're in for. Then obviously
Yeah, but I think
prepared a bit.
I might even find that one easier than I'll find the T100. Just because this bike's going to be flat and I'm going to need some power. I can't just
yourself small.
grind my way up a hill. And yeah, I don't know, I can't use my endurance as much in an Olympic distance.
Yeah, also the Mediterranean helps you see the ground and know where you're going a little bit more when
Yeah.
you're swimming when you're swimming 1900 meters. But very, very excited. What made you sign up for your first triathlon?
I background in sports, then got into running, not to the elite level of Anya, but love running. Did like London Marathon, love the atmosphere. Being in London, running,
Amazing
incredible.
time.
2:59.
Oh, there you go. Boom.
Which is good. So I love running, I love training, and I think having that training program and like just the incentive to go one more, I loved.
Yeah.
And then I've always been the weirdo that loves to just go and train for ages. But then I found this triathlon community. It's so special. Like everyone is so lovely. It's like I've always felt a bit different saying, do you want to go for like a 3-hour bike ride? And everyone's like, now everyone's like, yeah, we could eat pastries as well. Love it. So yeah, I love tracking it all together. I like not being too good at things and learning and stepping out my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And every aspect of this, with the transitions and the messages of support as well, and everyone's just so outgoing.
Yeah.
Make sure you do this, make sure you do that, and I love learning. So there's so much to learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It seems like an amazing occasion.
Great Britain, huge history of triathlons. Who are the role models? Who perhaps
Lucy
got
Charles
you into
Barkley.
Yeah, there we go. Battle braids.
If I saw someone from One Direction, I wouldn't care. If I saw Lucy, I will fangirl. I just think she's
Fantastic.
so cool. Like her grit and determination is something I can only aspire to do, and like her history of coming second so many times and just not giving up is something I'll probably lean on. I have her Spotify workout playlist on my phone, and I take it all the time for runs, and I'm like, if she can grit out a 5-hour turbo session in her chamber, then I can do a 10k effort run.
Yeah, well, that's
Everybody
to
loves
what
Lucy.
Tom was saying, is that in other areas of life, going for a 3-hour ride is weird, whereas in the long course triathlon world, it's a relatively short ride.
Yeah.
And if you told Jan that you've gone for a 3-hour ride, he'd be like, cool.
Yeah.
And that's about it. It's not abnormal. And so yeah, it's a weird community, but it's an amazing community and full of people who are willing to do crazy things.
So special, and I think the discipline that they have to be able to get to those levels. I've dabbled in training, and I like to think I'm quite good, but I know that what I went through, the unsociable hours to get to the marathon and do what I did on the marathon, which I was very proud of. But then to think that these pros are hitting the numbers they are off the bike, off to the swim, it's incredible. And for them to be so impressive in each discipline, but then put it all together in one, the hours that go into it, like crikey, I think it's tiring wearing this full time, let alone, doing all the training with it. So yeah, it's impressive.
Last question then, from zero to full to T100, how long would you say it takes you guys to prepare? How long, how many weeks, months would you recommend your fellow first newbies should put in?
I think you could do it in 16 weeks.
16 weeks, 4
Yeah,
months.
yeah. I could ride a bike, not race a bike. I could swim not to drown, and I hopefully have turned it around in about 16 weeks.
So
Awesome.
no danger of drowning on the weekend?
No way, he's wetsuit legal swim. She's gonna be fine.
I've done
If
my
she did
research.
Nice-
There are kayaks in the water. It is fine. We'll be safe.
Yeah, you'll be safe.
Amazing. Yeah.
Well, guys, very best of luck from us. I hope you enjoy it. It sounds like a real atmosphere to soak in. Get your photo, get your medals, and
That's why we're
have
here.
fun.
Yeah,
Really
I'm so
enjoy it.
excited. It seems so inclusive as well. I generally looked at triathlon about 4 months ago, and I thought it's only for the elite. I could never do a triathlon. Truly, it seems like daunting. But I think what this has shown me, like T100 community, it's so inclusive. It generally is for everyone, and it's a safe place, and it's exercise. It's moving the body. It's not just about smashing it. It's actually like what it does for your life and how it benefits you, and the connections you make and the people you meet along the way. And that's what's been really cool for me. So yeah, it's good.
very good, very
What
good.
else can you say?
All right, all the very best of luck. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Rest up, and
Yeah.
nice to
Bless
meet
you.
you.
Congrats for everything. Bless you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
bro. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
I can't believe what I'm about to say. We have Max Neumann in the house. Max
No
Neumann.
way.
Max Neumann is here.
You see, I drive past Max in the little town where he lives, and his girlfriend waves to me, but Max, nah. Max just head down. He's got his pain au chocolat, whatever he's after.
Hey mate.
Hello, mate. How are you?
How are you, mate? Good to see
Yeah,
you.
going well.
You do actually exist.
Yeah,
You're
not much of a
alive.
tan though. I'm pretty white.
You do look, you look like you've been spending a bit of time
Pasty.
inside. So
Yeah.
we were just saying, it's been like 15, 16 months since the world's seen you, heard from you. What has been, where have you been? What have you been doing?
Oh, at the start, not much. It's obviously had a few injuries, but the main one was the ITV, and these injuries are just like horrible. It's like they can last for like 2 weeks to like a couple of years. So it just took ages to find something that actually worked to like see progress on my knee. Like we considered surgery like multiple times, but obviously just the last thing I want to do. So yeah, we ended up just finding something that worked for us, and now I've found the last 6 weeks like consistently training like 20 to 25 hours, which I haven't done in like a year and a half. So yeah, it's just taken so long. It's just like, I don't wish this injury on anyone, so I'd rather break my leg and happen to repair that. So, yeah.
Do you feel like you won the PTO European Open, you're in the shape of your life for sure, you're in incredible shape. You haven't really done the work, and you're known as a pretty high volume trainer for 18 months. How's your shape feel now after only being back into it for 6 weeks?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be firing. I think I'll be like 50%. But you got to start somewhere, eh? So I think my swim and ride is semi good. It's just the run's going to be the questionable one. We're just taking it super cautious because I just don't want to go backwards. So yeah, I just want to come here and enjoy it. Hopefully get a bit of confidence back and build up for Ibiza and the last two. So yeah, it's more of a confidence building race for me. So yeah, nothing exciting on the form front, but yeah, hopefully we can build from here.
How's your headspace going in? I mean, last in Ibiza when we saw you, I felt like you definitely had a touch of anger. You were calling out other guys and mocking the way they train, and you've gone through struggles. And I think, if I look at a personal journey, I was very vocal. Like when I was a young guy, I thought, this is all going to go super smoothly, and then you see it doesn't, and then you perhaps consider a few things. Where's the last 15 months been in terms of that for you?
Yeah, I know. I can understand what you're saying. It's yeah, I think after the injuries, it definitely brings you down to rock bottom, and you definitely see a different side of the sport and a different side of yourself as well. So, yeah, obviously the first few months I was just unsure of what to do because it's like, can we train? We try to train, and then you just go backwards, and then we sort of just stuck in limbo for just training, and then it would set you back, and then you try to train again, you set back. So. I think it was after Christmas we just decided to just don't do anything until it you start to feel progress, and once you start to feel progress we sort of just build and build and build, and that sort of flipped the switch, and I started to get a bit of progress. But yeah, it was definitely tough for the first couple of months because I just had no idea how to manage it. We tried everything. We've seen a million different people, and they all have different opinions. So we just found someone and just stuck to their sort of whatever the word for it is.
Philosophy?
Philosophy is the word. And just stuck to that, and yeah, it's slowly starting to see progress now. So yeah.
Can you tell us about it? Are you hesitant to talk about it too much, or can you get into the weeds of it?
No, I don't wish this injury on anyone. So I think the thing that sort of turned the page for me, I saw some guy, and it's just like acupuncture, but they put an electronic circuit through it. And with chronic injuries, I think it works. Only for chronic injuries, it works really well because it just sends pathways to it and tells you that there's something going on here, and your body just sends healing vibes to it. And that sort of flicked the switch for me. I was able to sort of get back into some consistent work, and obviously gym played a massive part as well. I've spent many hours in the gym now, so just a mixture. It's just not one thing, it's just a mixture of things that add together and get you back to being able to train consistently. So yeah.
As an athlete, I swear by electroneedling, so I wish you best of luck. I really hope it does.
Yeah, it's really good.
Maybe just take us into where you find the resilience. We all know as athletes, it's our bread and butter, it's how we feel. It sucks, right? Where do you find the resilience? Where do you find that deep inner strength to just be this is my calling, this is my path. And if I get knocked up, I will get up once more than I got knocked up.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think these long-term injuries, it's even worse because it's many a times I never saw an end to this injury. I was oh, my career's over. I think everyone with injuries, it's your career's over. Should I just pack it up and head home and just get a normal job? I literally thought that a million times. But I think you do this sport because you just absolutely love the training. I think it's just love the process of getting fit. It's extremely addictive, and it's even the last 6 weeks when I've started to see a little bit of progress, it's it is super addictive, and I think that's what I think athletes should crave, and I think that's what makes professional sportsmen kind of special, is just crave that addiction to just see progress and hopefully finally get back to a level where you're bettering yourself and you're actually making gains in the sport. So yeah, I won't say it wasn't hard, but it's good to see some progress back.
Yeah, we're certainly happy to see you back. I'm pumped.
I have a personal question. So you made a move from Australia to Andorra, which is actually where Jan lives as well, and it sort of coincided exactly with you being in the middle of your injury, and where probably a point where you were struggling to see a way out. And how did you go moving over to a country that literally the other side of the world, just you and your partner, no one else there, no friends, no family, no support network, to do the job that you couldn't do? How was that?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jack. Yeah, it was obviously the move was sort of planned before Ibiza, and we really wanted to just move somewhere obviously Australia is like one of the most dangerous places to ride a bike.
Tell me, mate.
And I was sick of it. Like, you go out, you're a bit foggy anyway from like training so many hours, and everyone hates you on the road. So moving somewhere else that's not Australia, that actually has a completely different culture in riding bikes, and they like respect you, is something that we really wanted. And obviously cutting out the travel is a massive thing. So we sort of made that decision. We weren't 100% on it, but we made a decision that we're going to move over. And yeah, it was a good move. We enjoyed it. I think we had a bit more time without training so much to just get that all in order and get a place that, you know, felt like home. We've got a dog now, so it's it does feel kind of cool. So yeah, there's heaps of Aussies there, heaps of Kiwis, and we're sort of starting to really feel like it's a place that you can get the most out of yourself. So yeah, of course it was tough, but yeah, we had a lot of time. So
tell me about your dog. So you adopted a really old dog.
Yeah, old fella.
Yeah, just part of the journey of like, I'm not doing the things I want to be doing. I'm kind of bored. I need companionship. Is that what it was?
I don't know how people live without dogs. I've always had a dog my whole life, so we didn't have a dog. We just like get home for training and just like, there's no one there to like come up to you. It's just depressing. So I love dogs. I love all animals. So it's like, we needed a dog, and this guy is like 12 years old, and he's just like such a good little mutt. He just like loves everything. He's completely deaf, so nothing bothers him. And yeah, it's just great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. It sounds like quite a journey. Anyways, I think we can all say we're super happy to see you back.
Just shocked to see you, mate.
Yeah.
Have I aged, mate?
You've actually...
No. You look better than you did before.
Same. Because I saw you September last year. So September last year, I think, last time I saw you. In France, and I think at that point you were still really hopeful, and like we spent a lot of time together, and it was like the return was coming. You know, you weren't in the best spot, but it didn't feel too far off. And then every month that passed by, I was like, I don't know, even I started to lose a bit of hope because of that version of you I'd seen, and we're all the way here in July. So it's just great to finally see you back, mate, and have you around a race.
Yeah, no, it's great to be back. I didn't enjoy it at all, but yeah, hopefully, yeah, we never go back to that phase now. So,
are you as motivated as ever?
Yeah, I still want to do everything I've always wanted to do in the sport. It's just I know I'm not at the level to do it yet. So once I get to that level, I'll definitely be more motivated.
And has anything changed on the performance front? Are you still coached by your brother Mitch?
Yeah, me and Mitch. Yeah.
And has anything changed? Like, have you had any sort of philosophical changes in your training, or have you adjusted much?
No, we 100%. Yeah.
Share details?
Well, we're not really there yet, but we will. Yeah. No,
so you've sort of like discussed that there might have been reasons why.
100% issues. Yeah.
Because of the crazy training?
No, more diet and just a few stupid things. Yeah.
Under eating?
Yeah. I think more just eating sugar instead of eating proper stuff.
Okay. Yeah. And so what changes are you thinking you're going to make? Like, can you... Because I think people would be interested.
Well, I think when I was doing, you know, like big hour weeks, it's so hard to actually eat properly. So I just, end up eating a lot of sugar because you obviously still can do the training, but your bones and your stuff don't take any nutrients on. So it's more just being able to prioritising like eating better out on the bike and putting actual, not just sugar in your bottles, maybe a bit of protein and stuff like that. So,
can you speak to that at all? Like, how important was diet and nutrition to you throughout your career?
Well, you know, I agree with what Max is saying, is that you come out and you just want to get the fuel in, right? You just want to get enough, and that very often happens to be what's quickly available, and that's often like high sugar stuff. But I obviously went through the change where, you know, skinny used to be fast. Like for us, it was always like you take a kilo off your body weight, that's 30 seconds off your 10K. So the whole mentality was different and it's changed, but I always believed in like needing nutrition more for long term. I think it's a long part of my longevity of my career is that I always, like, even when I had zero money, like, I would go and buy from the farmer and negotiate with him so I could get the best produce.
Wow.
And just, like, always believe in the wholeness of foods, because I think for tomorrow, it doesn't matter. If you're performing tomorrow and what you really feel like is a burger and fries, have it, you'll be fine, right? But 3-4 months down the line, when your body's building and the cells that are available, you know, they feed off the nutrients and they basically come with the food, you know, they come with the food that you eat. So I can only commend you try it, because I think in the long run, it's definitely gonna pay off in terms of longevity. Not for performance.
Yeah, I agree. And these days, you don't know what the hell's in most food, so it's like, if you can keep it as natural as possible, I think it's a good thing.
Chef's hat. Get your chef's hat on.
Yeah, I know. I 100% agree with
Who's
that.
doing the cooking at home? You or Holly?
Oh, Holly does a lot of it, yeah. Yeah.
So it's
I try, but
actually more Holly making the changes than it is Max.
Oh, Max has got to eat it, and
yeah, exactly.
that's all right.
Yeah.
Good man. All right.
Yeah.
Get off your feet.
Thanks, guys.
Chill out.
Great to see you.
See you out there.
See you,
Thanks,
mate.
mate.
Geez, it's good to see Max back, I reckon.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, just, you know, one of the bright stars of the sport that has all the world of potential, but that's the problem when you're training as much as we do. There's always that risk of injury and, you know, flying too high to the sun and too close to the water.
Yeah.
It's the old Icarus story.
Just before we wrap up, we had a brief discussion about where we saw the men's standings. I want to have the same conversation with where we see the women's standings. Maybe I'll give you my take on it, and then you sort of tell me what you think about that. I think when Taylor Knibb is here, she's the best in the world, and I believe very strongly she's the best triathlete on the planet right now. And we saw that at San Francisco. I think on certain courses, Ashleigh Gentle can compete with her, but on courses that are neutral or suit Taylor, I think Ash's going to have a very hard time. And I think the same could be said for Lucy Charles-Barclay. When there's courses that suit someone who can get off the front on the swim and the bike, you know, she can compete. And then we have sort of the more consistent athletes who don't have the weapon of a Taylor or an Ash or a Lucy in the swim, bike, run as single sports, but are very consistent in Kat Matthews and India Lee and Paula Finlay. And I guess even Arne Haug, she doesn't maybe, you know, over this distance, I don't know if her run's the weapon that Taylor Knibb's bike is. Maybe it is, and we're going to see that on Sunday in London, I guess, on Saturday in London, I guess. Do you think that's a fair summation of where the season's at with the women right now, or do you see things a little differently?
I probably wouldn't shut it down quite as much in terms of Taylor Knibb. I mean, Taylor Knibb, I agree, has been on a planet of her own. Yep. She's definitely, you know, in her mindset, everything I see about her just shouts excellence. There is just a focus there, and almost a distance. You know, it's almost as though she's walking and she's remote controlling her body from somewhere else, from a control. She's just so focused and so mentally composed that I find just the aura really impressed me in San Francisco. I do think Lucy Charles-Barclay, you know, she's had it tough. She had her massive breakthrough at the end of last year, and the media attention in Great Britain is definitely something else, dealing with that. And for her to have had as good an early season as she has is already quite remarkable to me. Let's not forget, she has got performances like Utah, when was it, 21? Yep. 70.3 worlds in her. And, you know, Lucy's an athlete that builds. She's definitely someone that peaks towards the later part of the season. This is a hometown race. Yeah. I'm very excited to see what she's capable of course, in the absence of Taylor Knibb. But I do think there's a potential. And Ash told us she's made the changes. She saw what's going on. She saw that her status quo, her being presented as the queen of T100, is perhaps not as accurate as she would like it to be. Agree. And she took it by the scruff of the neck, changed her ways, changed her approach. She realizes she may need some time, but she's got a bit of time until she next faces up against Taylor Knibb. And so we've got one heck of a race on our hands this weekend.
I agree. Mate, good to sit down and chat. That was a long chat, but it went by pretty quickly.
Indeed. I need coffee. Thanks, mate.